What's up, guys? New edition in the back. Hope you guys like it. But it is time to preview the Coppa Italia game against Venezia tomorrow. But because we are close to January, you know what time it is. The January transfer window rumors start to fly. So we're going to discuss a few of those, especially relating to the goalkeeping situation. But before all of that, of course, leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. But there's some housekeeping I need to do because I did announce that there was going to be a member-only giveaway. So let's quickly do the announcement and the picking, the random wheel of names picking. Once again, thank you all to the channel members, and let's see who wins. There's over 40 of you. Let's name it in there. Appreciate every single one of you, and the winner is Black Blue Legacy. Oh, I thought it was going to be different, but Black Blue Legacy. Please get in touch with me. You can either win. Wait, let me actually get it. So this is one of the new merch designs that, oh, sorry, it's a little bit dirty. Just got it out of the package right now. One of the new merch designs that I've done for the channel, of course, relating to the triplete. So you can either, I can send you one of these, or I've done some mug designs. One is the drinking Milanisti tears, and the other one is drinking Juventini tears. So whichever tears you prefer or T-shirt you prefer, let me know, and I'll send that over. But yeah, thank you once again for the support to every single one of you channel members, and I'll try to do a few more of these throughout the seasons for sure, for sure. Let's get into the news that I wanted to cover. First of all, related to the goalkeeper. Now, this is a name that we have seen linked to Inter very strongly in the past, as it says here via Fabrizio Romano from Inter Extra. The interest for Vicario is true. The club is keeping an eye on the Tottenham goalkeeper as an opportunity in 2026. Vicario was close to joining Inter after Onana left the club, but Spurs quickly closed the deal. The keeper remains high on Piero's list, with Yann Sommer likely to depart, and Vicario could come again an option. So the thing with Vicario is, I don't rate him that highly. I didn't rate him that highly when we were close to signing him from Empoli. I rated him highly in terms of, yes, an upcoming Italian talent, good goalkeeper, but I don't think he's top level goalkeeper. I think Tottenham is probably kind of his level, that kind of top 7, top 8 team, maybe Europa League, maybe even Champions League, but not really like. Is he better than Donnarumma? Obviously, no. He's never going to be the Italy number 1. But I don't even think he's even Italy number 2 or number 3. I rate Carnesecchi more than him. I think he's on a similar level to Meret. I think he's on a similar level to Di Gregorio. At least Di Gregorio is very good on the ball. Vicario is very hit and miss. This would not be my pick for post Yann Sommer as the starter. But I must admit, just as we're usually very doubtful with Inter, Ausilio, Marotta in terms of the choices for wing backs or fullbacks, we have to admit though they do seem to get it right more often than not when it comes to goalkeepers. So yeah, I think it's very early, and I think the price, if it's Premier League teams, they always really overprice their players. They usually earn quite a bit as well. I don't see it happening in terms of that as well. I think it's going to be too expensive on both those terms, maybe. But that's definitely not my number 1 pick. As Mancuso says here, hard pass. That is for me as well, if you're talking about potential into number 1 goalkeeper. So that's that. You guys let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on Guglielmo Vicario as potential Yann Sommer replacement. Let's get into some other news. So this is, not sure if this is related to Inter's first team or under 23 team, because I'm not familiar with the player. But if he's playing for Hajduk Split already, that means this guy's probably relating to, first team rotation, maybe the Thomas Palacios replacement. Branimir Mladic. So the club executives met in Milano last week to discuss a January deal that will see the 18-year-old remain at Hajduk until the end of the season on loan. If everything goes to plan, a deal could be agreed by the end of the calendar year. I have no idea about the player. Looks, by the build, looks like a centre back to me, but I have no idea. I need to do some more research into him. Maybe a Petar Sucic type deal, but someone that I will look into. But if you have any idea about him, let me know in the comments down below. We know what it's like these days with Inter and the oak tree. This is the type of signings that we're more likely to do than the big blockbuster Lookman type of signings. There was also the awards evening last night, the Italian Football Association Awards. Pio Esposito won his Golden Boy Award. A few of the other players were part of the Team of the Year. But unfortunately for Interisti, who may be hoping for January incomings or January action, Piero Ausilio, our sporting director, basically said no. But always, as I always say with Piero Ausilio, take his words with not a pinch of salt, just a whole heap of salt. This guy basically just lies usually in the press. But he says, from what we've testified now in the Mercato, we're only convinced to do things in the summer market because it gives the manager more time to know the players and even wait for specific players, which you can't do in January. Diouf is an example of this. He arrived at the last minute. Yeah, I didn't like this bit. Now he's like, he said it in almost like a arrogant way, like, oh, now people are realizing how good of a player he is. Like, bro, he's had two good little cameos, which I've enjoyed. But why are you like already taking credit for the signing when it's it's definitely more of a flop more than a hit at the moment? This is some of the things I don't really like about Ausilio. And yeah, he reiterated that these opportunities in January are difficult, but at the same time, we're playing every 3 days, and at the moment, there's no need. We believe we have a complete and competitive squad for our goals this season. I mean, the fact that he says we have a complete and there's no need in the squad, the fact that Andy Diouf, the guy you just mentioned, himself, he said, I'm a number 8, I'm a midfielder, I'm a mezzala, and he's having to play wing back because one of the other signings is not working out, Luis Henrique. That shows you, and we've got the Dumfries injury, Darmian injury. I think it doesn't really show that there's no need. I mean, again, I think that's how they look at it. They just look at things numerically, number-wise. You got 7 midfielders, 2 wing backs per position, etc., etc. That's fine. But in reality, in practicality, that's not really how things are working out at the moment because of injuries and poor performances from some players. So I disagree with him there. But again, he's probably lying. You don't want to be, showing your cards right now and saying, oh, yeah, we're going to be looking for a wing back or we're going to be looking for this type of player. So we'll see about that. He went back to discuss the Lookman thing. He said, we never denied our interest in Lookman, but it didn't last as long as the media claimed. After the club woke up, so even the timing is different from what the media claimed. After the World Cup, we realized that it was complicated and maybe wouldn't even be the best idea to change a system that gave this team so many certainties and excellent result. We made evaluations with Kivu, and then we received excellent answers from Pio. All this led to us continuing with the 3-5-2, and we think the best idea is consequently having 4 strikers. I think is more than enough. If this system remains, we are absolutely covered. There is no need for anything. Again, I think with the 4, I mean, even last season we had 5 strikers. We had Correa, Arnautovic, Taremi as the backup 3. And you could say they all added up to like 0.5, all 3 of them. This season we've got 4, so only 2 backup. I feel like even there, unless you want to bring in someone from the Primavera on an emergency, I feel like even there we could do with an extra one. But I agree in terms of the thought process of, if you want to maximize Pio Esposito as well, his growth, his future, then you needed to give him that time with having 4 strikers that gives him the time to grow and the play time that he needs. So there was definitely clear inclination and decision made towards helping Pio Esposito as well within this team, which I agree with. Whether there was other options than Lookman, I feel like there could have been for sure. And then, yeah, basically, they tried to ask him about the right wing backup, and he says, what you're asking about is a substitute. We have a team that I consider strong and absolutely competitive. Finding players who can replace Dumfries, Barella, Lautaro is not easy, etc. Maybe they can be even found. So this is, again, like, I feel like they're always just very content. I mean, there's no denying that our players are super strong, some of the best in this league, if not around Europe. But it's the same team. It's almost like they're just happy to sit on their laurels and just be, the status quo, not challenge the starters, not really try to bring in new players, new motivations, new energies, which is what this team definitely needs. And again, he's kind of reiterating that with his quotes today or yesterday, Pier Ausilio. So he's a very divisive character. If anything, he's actually very negatively viewed in the Inter fan base, and I don't think this interview has improved that for sure. But let me go back to the Inter Extra page here to see what else we can discuss. According to Nico Skira, Inter are also monitoring the massive beast that is Idrissa Toure, the fullback that we played against just the other day. He is basically Dumfries on steroids. Maybe if he's like a cheap option and you can get him in, if Dumfries' injury it looks too long term and really we're struggling for options, he's this guy that you could bring in, but not really. Yeah, he's doing well for Pisa, but I don't really think he's an Inter quality, in my opinion. Oh, it's Matteo Darmian's 36th birthday. What is happening to Matteo Darmian, by the way? Does anyone know? Like, this guy, when is he coming back from his injuries? I've not heard anything about Matteo Darmian because we actually do need him at the moment at the wing back position. I thought that was the end of Matteo Darmian as a wing back when we signed Luis Henrique, but it was not to be. Gazzetta reports that Yann Sommer is expected to leave at the end of the season, so we kind of know that. There's no rumors of anything in terms of any renewals for Yann Sommer, which I think is the right decision. Oh, more news on Mlacic. Nico Skira says the defender has been offered a contract until 2030, is open to joining the club, and then will remain until the end of the season. Again, this is not finished, but more confirmations coming from in and out of Italy. And also confirmations from Matteo Moretto on this interest from Inter. Interesting. Oh yeah, here's the lineup of our boys yesterday who were part of the team of the year with the Associazione Italiana Calciatori, so the Footballer Association of Italy. I personally don't think Lautaro and Barella should have made it into this team of the year. If it's only based on Serie A, maybe they're also counting Europe, so then it makes sense. But I don't think, especially Lautaro with 12 goals last season in Serie A, should have been in this team. But anyway, it's always nice to see the boys, suited and booted and getting some recognition because, of course, out of 3 competitions, these guys did get to the end of, all 3 competitions, just couldn't land a trophy. So performance level wise, it still deserves a lot of respect, even though, of course, we had heartbreak. Let's move on to tomorrow's match preview. You can see here pictured a few youth players that are part of the training session with the first team today. Jan Maye and Matteo Cocchi, who are 2 defenders. Or Cocchi is a wing back. Maye is a centre back, I believe, / fullback. And ahead of the Coppa Italia, looks like Jose Martinez will return to the starting lineup finally after that whole ordeal. I think the legal investigation is still going. I think, I'm not sure how he's doing mentally, but hopefully that side of things is all better for him. And hopefully, just playing maybe also helps him get better. So Matteo Barzaghi from Sky Sports says he is going to start tomorrow, which is what I want to see for sure. Oh, last news, which I like, is that Inter has sent scouts. I mean, it's too late now to send scouts to watch Palestra. This guy needs to be signed, but of course he's owned by Atalanta, and I think I saw reports saying that they want 30 or maybe even 40 million for him already. I think we already missed the boat on this guy, especially with Atalanta being the club that you will have to negotiate with. But yeah, anyway, going back to the Venezia game, they are in Serie B now, but I just wanted to show you our recent record against them. Nothing to discuss here. We just win pretty much all the time. But one thing to note is it's always been a very narrow victory, never like anything massive. Always very narrow victories from against Venezia. But this Venezia team, I don't believe they're even doing that well in Serie B. Actually, let me just quickly check. I do once in a while check in on Serie B fixtures and performance. No, actually not doing too bad. 5 points off the top, so looking still in the playoff places, still potential to get into the top 2 spots. So actually, I take that back. They're doing all right in Serie B in terms of standout players. Of course, Filip Stankovic, who's back from injury. Looking forward to seeing him. Hopefully, he doesn't have too much of a great performance against us. Buzio is always an interesting player to watch out for. Dumbia, I play a FC26. I started a career mode actually with Venezia. So I know a few of these players, especially Dumbia, even though he's 22, he's still one, potentially a player that I could see for a Serie A team in the future. But apart from that, very mid, they don't even have particularly interesting young players anymore as they used to a few years back. But in terms of Inter's lineup, there's no predicted lineups as I could find as of yet. But this is the lineup I would go for. And I want to know your lineups in the comments down below. So obviously, Jose Martinez in goal. I want to see Bastoni fully rested for the 90. Even if the scoreline requires it, I want to see Bastoni fully rested. I want to see Hakan fully rested. I want to see Barella fully rested. Thuram, actually, because Boni is still a 50-50 with Boni because he was ill against Pisa the weekend, still recovering from flu. They said today was the day where they're going to make a decision on it. So probably one of Thuram or Lautaro are going to have to start tomorrow regardless. But ideally, this is my lineup that I would do to try to rest some of the key players. As I said, Bastoni, Di Marco, Hakan, Barella, etc. De Vrij, who's been he's had a lot of rest recently. He needs some minutes in his legs. Bisek needs continued minutes in his legs, and Augusto as the left centre back. Palacios is injured, by the way. If you're thinking Palacios deserves the minutes, maybe this could have been the chance for Palacios, but that guy basically doesn't even exist anymore. As CDM, you could either play, I think, Sucic. You could also test out there. We saw him tested out in pre-season. Maybe, and we know that Zielinski hates playing there, but I feel like he could do a job for tomorrow with Mkhitaryan returning. If Mkhitaryan is ready to start from the beginning, he should be now because he was part of the squad last week, so he should be, somewhat match fit, 50, 60 minutes in his legs. And then I think the key is that I want to see Andy Diouf start, but as a midfielder, not as a wing back, unless Kivu really thinks there's potential there, for him to develop as a wing back. And he really doesn't trust Luis Henrique. I don't really want to see Andy Diouf play as a wing back. I need to see him as a midfielder start to get integrated into the team as a midfielder. And yeah, I would have started him ahead of Frattesi, to be honest. But of course, if Mkhitaryan isn't fit, then you could start Frattesi. But midfield of Frattesi, Diouf, even against Venezia, you might lose complete control, to be honest. Luis Henrique needs to get the full 90. Even if we go into extra time, I want to see Luis Henrique get the 120 minutes. And on the left, Kivu, one of the reasons Kivu was given the helm, the keys to Inter was, of course, with the new Oak Tree project, Primavera players. We want to bring through under 23 players. These are the games to do it. We know that Inzaghi never really did it, even if he had a gun to his head. I feel like Kivu is the guy that would do this, and I feel like he should do this. These are the games that he should be trying to test out these types of players. And the player that I do like from our Primavera / under 23 team is Matteo Cocchi, who reminds me of Di Marco, very technical left-footed player that is not blessed athletically, but I think can make a difference with his technique. Yeah, that's who I would start, because I think Di Marco has played a lot of football this season already, more than ever before, so he deserves and needs a rest. In the comments, some people were saying Sucic to replace Zielinski. Someone said Mayer should start. Alexiou is also, Alexiou, who was the Primavera captain last season. He could also play as maybe one of the left centre-back position. That could be interesting as well. I know there was rumours of Kamate, who is kind of like this winger that we saw even in pre-season at certain points, played as a wing-back. He's left-footed, but he played as a right wing-back, cutting in, similar to what Diouf is doing. So that's also an option. But this is what I would go for. Let me know in the comments down below your predictions for tomorrow. I think if Kivu is going to rotate, we know it's going to be a struggle. The team is not going to really click together, but should be enough to do the job. I'm going for a 2-0 victory in the Coppa Italia. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Ciao ragazzi. Forza Inter, Forza Andy Diouf, and Forza Kivu have the cojones to play in Primavera tomorrow. Ciao.